Thank you all for coming. For the past 2 years, the governor has worked with us in the legislature to zero in on the #1 priority for the vast majority of New Yorkers, creating jobs. It's a cause I've championed since elected in the Assembly, and I'm also so happy to have a partner in the governor as we work to improve life here for residents in Utica and the Mohawk Valley. Creating jobs just isn't about getting the unemployment rate down. It's about understanding the critical link between employment and a successful, functioning, growing economy. For every job we create, that's more money in people's pockets, and that means more money that's being spent in our communities, reviving our local economic engines. Creating jobs, getting taxes under control for middle-class New Yorkers, grassroots and regionally led economic development, that is what the past 2 years have been all about under the governor's leadership. And now we have a bold plan that will help attract new businesses and keep homegrown ideas right here in Utica. Once again, Governor, I want to thank you for being here today and working so hard day in, day out for people in the Utica region and the Mohawk Valley. And I want to now take a moment to introduce my partner in government, Senator Griffo.
I think I'm shrinking. I may need the stool. I don't know. Roanne, where's the stool? Welcome, everybody. Welcome here today. It's great to see such a large group of people who have come here today to hear this announcement and unveiling by the governor. I want to welcome the governor again back to the region. We appreciate his interest and his attentiveness to our area. He is a frequent visitor. In fact, today I understand, Governor, you may be a frequent flyer. You've been all over the state. So welcome here to end the day at SUNY IT. This is really an opportunity for the governor to present a new initiative. And as a former local official and now in state government, I have listened to businesses' concerns and understood some of the challenges that they have faced during my tenure in public life. And I have always tried to advocate and to advance ideas and concepts to be sensitive to their needs and to address their challenges. A couple of years ago, we were fortunate when the governor got elected that we had an individual immediately upon taking office who really understood that there was a necessity to take action immediately because we had to rebrand New York's image. We had to rebuild New York State's economy, and we began to work immediately together. And that is really something that is significant because there was a government that wasn't working. He immediately began to bring people together, to communicate, and to reach across party lines and across geography to ensure that we were all on the same page, that by working together we could work for positive change and to make a difference in this state. So we undertook a number of initiatives over the last 2.5 years in order to really reposition the state. So there were many things that were done before even today that allowed us to bring forth a day like today. And that's why there needs to be a continuation of what the governor's doing today. From my perspective, we still need, and the times and circumstances demand, bold ideas, new initiatives that can truly transform our economy, where we could take advantage of our greatest resources that we have and natural resources that we have available in this region, that we can look at our best talent that we have in this state, and that we can rely on the world's greatest universities, which are in all corners of this state. So we are truly blessed in that regard. So with those circumstances and with those opportunities and with the governor's leadership, there is a chance here now to continue on what we have begun, to work together and to look at any idea or initiative that will cut taxes, promote economic development and growth, because we want to be not known as a place of high taxes, but a place of potential and a place of opportunity. So today, I think as the governor unveils this proposal here in the Mohawk Valley, we will continue to communicate and to work together and to continue to do what we can to foster economic growth. So I appreciate your efforts, your leadership. We look forward to working with you to continue to not only do what we are talking about today, but to expand upon that to continue to rebuild and rebrand New York. And it's a pleasure today that I introduce a colleague that we work with as a result of another initiative by the governor, the regional councils, which have been working over the last 2.5 years. Larry Gilroy, who is co-chair, but now the chair of the Regional Economic Development Council. Larry?
I'm always impressed when I come to an event that the governor puts on at how it's all staged, so I try to figure out sometimes the symbolism. I was looking up, and I'm not quite sure I get the symbolism here today. Thank you, Provost Durgan, for hosting once again an event that is so important for our community. I'm just thrilled that we have the governor here with us, not today, but once again. Since I got involved with the Regional Economic Development Council, I've had the opportunity to see firsthand how committed the governor has been to this region. So the excitement that you're hearing about throughout the state, while important to me, what's much more important is the commitment they've made to the Mohawk Valley. The leaders in this area from an economic and political standpoint are listened to in Albany. The members of the governor's team, as well as the governor himself, are in the Mohawk Valley. They understand our issues, and the types of announcements we're hearing today, I think, are just the tip of the iceberg because of all the work that's happening in Albany. So I'm thrilled that the governor is here to talk to us about another initiative, and I like to think of this not just about jobs, but about ending one of New York State's exports. It's time we stop exporting our educated and talented youth, and I'm thrilled the governor understands that and is making it happen. So please now join me in welcoming our governor, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First, to Larry Gilroy, who has just done a fantastic, fantastic job on the Regional Economic Development Council. As all of you know, his talent and his leadership ability, but he's been great on the REDC. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much, Mr. Larry Gilroy. I love being back at SUNY IT. It is such a beautiful facility, and there's such positive energy about it. It's really my pleasure to be back, and I want to thank you very much for having me. I want to acknowledge my colleagues from Albany, Senator Griffo and Assemblyman Brindisi. They're doing great work. It's a pleasure to be with you here. Let's give them a round of applause. I stole from you, I want you to know, a great elected official, only on the promise that she could do more for her home district from Albany than she could from the Assembly. Rowan DeStito, our OGS Commissioner. You also have a county executive who has just done a really important piece of work on behalf of the people in his county. In settling and ending an ongoing long-term dispute with the Oneida Indians that goes back over a decade, one of those disputes that does nothing but make the lawyers rich. All due respect to the lawyers. But he did a great job representing his county, and he also did the fair and honorable thing and the smart thing, and Oneida County is going to be the better for it. County Executive Anthony Picenti. Thanks very much for taking the time to come out and talk today. I think the proposal I'm going to lay out for you in a few minutes is probably one of the single most exciting proposals that I've made in my 2.5 years. I think this has the opportunity to truly change the trajectory of the state of New York. We have the government working better than it has in a long time. I think that's fair to say over the past 2 years. I think what Senator Griffo said is right. You know, we had been watching state government for a lot of years, and I think everyone was just disgusted, frankly, with the lack of progress and the lack of function of state government. It was like watching a bad movie over and over and over again. You know, for me, the symbol was every time the state went to do a budget, every year when you had to hear about the budget fiasco for the state, and they had that little mini-series, like a mini-drama watching the news. Is the state going to get a budget on time? And it'd be a week out, and they'd say, is it 7 days? Is the state going to get a budget? And it was 6 days, 5 days, and whoa, surprise, surprise, state doesn't get the budget on time, the budget is late. And then it was 1 week late, 2 weeks late, 5 months late, and this was year after year after year. And it was really disheartening. And it was infuriating. Because, you know, what if we said, well, April 15th, I know I'm supposed to pay my taxes, but you know what, I didn't quite agree on how much I should pay yet, so I'm not going to pay. You know, it was arrogant, it was dysfunctional, and it was sad in a lot of ways. We started 2 years ago, and we sat down and we said, you know what, we're going to do it differently this time. And maybe we're Democrats and maybe we're Republicans, but we're going to put our politics aside, because more important than being a Democrat and more important than being a Republican is that we are all New Yorkers. And let's understand the commonality of being New Yorkers, and let's represent New York instead of representing a political party, and let's get stuff done for the people of New York. We passed 3 budgets on time that were balanced, that were smart. We're passing laws. The government is working. And I want to recognize my colleagues in the legislature for their partnership, because it wouldn't be happening otherwise. Thank you again, gentlemen. Not only is it working, but we brought a different approach. And when it came to economic development, which Assemblyman Brindisi said is his priority, it's been my priority, we said we have to do it differently. Because for years they talked about the New York State economy, the New York State economy. The truth is there is no one New York State economy. There are 10 regional economies, and they're all different. And you have a New York City economy, which is totally different than a North Country economy, which is totally different than Buffalo's economy or different than Utica's economy. They're all different. And one can be doing very well, and it has no consequence whatsoever on one of the others. And this was an important revelation because it changed the way we thought and the way we did business. And we said, you know what, we can't sit in Albany and come up with an economic development program. We're going to give it to each region across the state to do, because each region is different. And let's grow those regional economies. Now, the state can be a partner, the state can help, the state can bring resources, but it has to be in and from that region. And that's what we've been doing with these regional councils. And it has been working, and it has been working well. But we have more to do. And I feel over the first 2 years we've learned a lot, and we've developed credibility, and we know that it's working, and now it's time to really bring it to scale. And that's what this proposal is all about. The number one mission for the state government is about the economy and is about creating jobs. Because if we're creating jobs, then there's going to be revenue for the local governments. People have a career, people will stay. So it's about getting the economy running and creating jobs. For New York, upstate, this has been a period where we have had decades of decline with the economy. And this is an important point, because I believe in life you can never solve a problem that you're unwilling to admit. And denial is not a life strategy. Our problems in upstate New York with the economy are not about the 2006 recession or the 2007 recession or a drop in the stock market. We have had economic problems in upstate New York for decades and decades. I was in Buffalo last week. Someone said we've had a bad 50 years when it comes to the economy. You know, this is generational. It is not episodic. And we have to appreciate that, because that tells us what kind of scale of solution we're going to need. What we've been doing over the past 2 years is a two-step approach. First, we have to do something about the perception that New York is a high-tax state. Why? Because that perception is hurting us, and businesses are more mobile, and people are more mobile, and they leave to find a better tax environment. And it's not a perception issue, it's a reality issue. Whether we are 49th out of 50th, or 48th out of 50th, or 47th out of 50, doesn't really matter. They are all bad numbers. And you don't have an economic future when you're at the bottom of the barrel in terms of high taxes and a reputation for being anti-business. What did we do? Change it. How do you change it? You change the perception by changing the reality. The truth is the taxes are too high in New York. Lower the taxes. And we have started. That's what we did with the property tax cap, because I believe the property taxes are the most onerous tax in this nation, in this state. Worse than the income tax is the property tax. And we capped it at 2%. We cut taxes for the middle class, to the lowest level in 60 years. Lowest level for middle class in 60 years. Middle class defined broadly up to $300,000 per year. And we reduced government spending down to 2%, which allowed us to do the tax cuts. So in terms of high taxes, we've been taking the right steps. We have more to do, certainly, but we're on the right track. The second step was investing in the regional economies and organizing those regions and getting the businesses to sit down with the government people, sit down with the higher academic institutions, and come up with a strategy for that region, and then giving that region all the tools they need to do it. Investing in the SUNY system with SUNY 2020, innovation hotspots, business incubators, New York Open for Business ad campaign to bring businesses back to the state, venture capital fund to invest in New York startup companies, all happening within the regional framework. It's working. We're making progress. Anecdotally, you'll have businesses all across the state tell you that it's different and there's a different energy. The last numbers that came out were very good news. We have the lowest unemployment rate since 2009. The national economy is herky-jerky, and I'm not going to promise it's a trend, but it's the best economic news we've had in this state for a long, long time. But now, after 2 years, we have to bring all the pieces together, and we have to bring it to scale. This is a big problem. It's a big solution. And that's why I emphasized how long this has gone on. This is not a momentary episodic cycle. This is a generational, decades-long cycle, and we need to fundamentally change the situation that we have in upstate New York. New York is a high-tax state. Let's just shatter that reality and perception once and for all. And we're proposing a tax-free New York program that I think does that, establishing 100% tax-free communities located all across the state of New York. Now, tax-free New York is built on the following facts or premises. First, the new economy is growing from higher education. All across this country, all across this globe, you look at where the jobs are coming from, they're coming out of the schools and the higher education facilities. The schools that are coming up with the new patents and the new copyrights. Those are the schools that are generating jobs. The old adage that you were either a college professor, academic, or you were a businessman, that's gone. The two have merged, and there's a positive synergy. And the best schools are generating and creating jobs and entrepreneurs. We have a great asset in the state of New York with our schools. Our schools are second to none, both our public and private institutions, and it's a great asset to the state that has been underutilized. We are generating jobs on these campuses. We just can't keep the jobs. We have the schools, we have the talent. So we have the new entrepreneur and the new cell phone and the new chip and the new patents. But 75% of our startup businesses leave within the first year. 75% leave within the first year. Just think about that. Because what they're saying is they came to our school, they were excited, they were here, the talent, they have an idea, they commercialized it, it's going to become a business, but they're young and they want to move to a state that is more pro-business than New York. Or an investor comes in and says, I'll invest in the company, but you two people are going to move the company to Florida, Texas, a lower tax state. 75% of the businesses. Businesses and entrepreneurial activity are attracted to lower tax communities. If you could hear the conversations I have just one day, arguing with businessmen to stay in this state and them saying that their taxes are going to be so much cheaper in this state or that state. Trying to attract businesses to come to New York, and they look at me like I have four heads because they say, why would I ever go to New York and pay those tax rates? I could go here, I could go here, I could go here. We've been talking about the mobility of businesses and people. It's truer than ever before. People and businesses leave New York because the taxes are too high and our competition offers low tax or no tax environments. In fact, upstate economy has had more difficulty than downstate and needs special attention. And because we've always talked about one economy in New York, it's been characterized by the downstate economy, which is a much, much different story than the upstate economy. It's actually the antithesis. You look at the numbers, they are tragic. Over the past 10 years, upstate New York job growth 5%. New York State was double that. New York City was triple that. And worse of all, the country was growing at almost twice the rate that upstate New York was. This is an upstate New York problem. It's not a downstate New York problem. And it's a critical problem. So you put all those facts together, what do you come out with? You come out with a sweet spot that says the entrepreneurial activity has to connect with an academic university, connect in a regional context, in a tax-free environment that is in upstate New York. That's where the facts lead you. That's what our proposal is. Entrepreneurship and job creation on higher ed campuses as tax-free communities. Use our SUNY system, which is primarily located all across upstate, as the framework for entrepreneurial tax-free communities. When you say tax-free, do you mean tax-free, or is it a politician saying tax-free? I mean tax-free, tax-free. No business taxes, no sales, no property tax, no income tax. The state has never done this before. No state has ever done this before. 100% tax-free community. What does a community mean? It means the SUNY campus and up to 200,000 square feet adjoining the campus. Eligible companies would be businesses that create new jobs. This is not about transferring jobs. It's not about moving jobs down the block. It's not about a sham creation. New jobs. Businesses coming into the state or businesses created from the campus environment itself or businesses that move to the campus and start. Eligible area, 64 SUNY campuses, 55 of which are in upstate New York. And why does that make sense? Because this is an upstate New York problem. We also want to bring in the private schools and have a pool of 3 million square feet that they can participate in, and 20 strategically located state-owned properties across the state. That adds up to 120 million square feet of eligible space. Next question is, well, is that a lot or is that a little, 120 million square feet? It's larger than all the commercial space in the city of San Francisco and Philadelphia combined. It is larger than all the commercial space in Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse combined. My friends, this is not a little approach. This is a massive area of space. This is an amount of space that will be noticed nationwide and will dramatically change the trajectory of the upstate economy. 93% of the entire state lives within 15 miles of a SUNY campus. So it's centrally located. It builds on everything that we have done over the past 2 years. It builds on everything that your Regional Economic Development Council is doing. It builds on everything that we know works, but it takes our effort and it brings it up to a statewide scale. Because this is not an issue that we're going to address on the margins. We're going to have to make a dramatic shift to do this. It is a big change for New York. And change is hard. Change is hard in our personal life. Change is hard in every environment. Change is especially hard when you're trying to deal with a bureaucracy and change a bureaucracy. But this is also a state that was born from bold ideas. We are a people who came with bold ideas. And we are facing a problem that needs a dramatic solution. We're not going to change 20, 30, 40 years of decline without being very honest about the problem and making a major change. I believe a tax-free environment and the great state of New York are a winning combination. You can sell that all day long, that will sell itself. If you can live in this state and not pay taxes, what could be better than that? That's what the New York tax-free proposal is all about. And let me say this to you in closing. It really is simple when you want to be honest about where we are and how we got here. After the manufacturing economy that made upstate New York, after that started to slow and die, upstate New York really never developed a replacement economy, really never found a new economy. So starting in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we've been losing population in upstate New York. It's been a steady drip, 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 and the number keeps coming down. At the same time, the number and the cost of governments keeps going up. So you have fewer and fewer people paying for more and more government, which means the taxes on the remaining people gets higher and higher and higher, which then furthers the exodus of the people because no businesses want to come and the people can't afford the taxes. And that picks up speed as it goes because it feeds on itself. That's what's happening now to upstate New York. The population is continuing to drop. The taxes are going up, causing more population to drop. That is an equation that is just factoring itself out that has to be stopped because it does not end well. And it's not going to be easy to turn that curve. Possible, but it's not easy. The good news is this. I've talked to dozens and dozens of people who have left the state, who are about to leave the state, who are meeting people at the airport to leave the state. Never once has anyone said to me, I want to leave New York. Never once has anyone said, I want to leave Rochester. I want to leave Buffalo. I want to leave Utica. They say, I have to leave. I have to leave. I can't pay the property taxes anymore. I have to leave. I can't find a job. I have to leave. My wife's job was moved, and I have to move with my wife. I have to leave. My company is relocating, and I have to leave. I have to leave. Never, I want to leave. Why? Because you can't want to leave the great state of New York. I spent 8 years in Washington during the Clinton administration. I worked in every state in this nation. I've been in most states 10, 20 times. I know everything else that is out there. I've seen the good, I've seen the bad, I've seen their landmarks, I've seen their beaches. No state has what we have in New York. We have everything that they have here in one place. We have the geography, the history, the diversity. We have the universities. We have the healthcare system. We have people from all over the globe in one place. We have scenes that make Mother Nature cry. They're so beautiful. Nobody has our assets. The exodus is because of what we have done to ourselves. It is self-inflicted. We created this problem. We created the taxes and the regulations that are now forcing people to leave. So undo it. Undo it. We can fix it. We did it. We can undo it. It won't be easy, but we have to be honest, and it has to be dramatic. I need you to tell that state legislature in Albany, upstate New York is different, and upstate New York has real economic problems, and we need help now, and this proposal is the type of proposal that can make a real difference, because we want our young people staying here at home. Because at the end of the day, as a government official, as a father, as a citizen, it becomes very simple. Our job is to leave this place a little better for our children than we found it. And our home is the state of New York. And we're going to leave them a home that is a little better, a little sweeter, a little safer than the home that we had. This proposal will make that a reality. Thank you, and God bless you.